Ready? All right.
This is regular board meeting of Tatum ISD is now 5:30 on January 12, 2026, and we have a quorum. Mr. Skinner will lead us to the pledge of allegiance, followed by Mr. Smith giving invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for letting us be here today and guide us and help us make these decisions, benefit our teachers, our kids, our community. And as this new year begins, just put a hand on all the athletes. It's busy time with the baseball and soccer and all the extracurricular activities. And just look out for everybody in our community. In your name, amen. Amen.
I need a motion to approve the consent items as presented, minutes of the regular board meeting of December the 8th, 2025.
Mr. President, I so move.
A motion by Mr. Smith, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Skinner. Any further discussion? All in favor? All opposed? None. Motion carried.
All right, Mr. President, trustees, tonight is your night. It is School Board Appreciation Night. And so we've got some goodies up here for you. I believe the ladies, your blankets were on your chair.
Yes.
Gentlemen, your blankets are down there, and those are from Tatum Elementary School. And then Tatum Primary, there should be a canvas T down there. And each button represents a voice, each sparkle a future, and T is for together. And then at Tatum Middle School, there's a wooden puzzle for all y'all that like to do puzzles. And it's framed, and digital art and animation classes did that. And they drew those three words that mean unity to them and asked to include images of what belonging to Tatum means to them. And then the high school did the plant garden with the card signed by the students. So we got plants. And I got you a box so you can carry all that. And also, there was a group that's going to be presenting tonight. They brought some bundt cakes over here for y'all. So there's different flavors. Help yourself to one, and I'll take the rest. I'll take the rest. No, help yourself to that, but that is from our tax attorneys that are going to be presenting. So, once again, thank you for your service. We're getting close to 100 years of service now with all of y'all. That's pretty impressive. I don't know many boards in East Texas that has a combination of almost 100 years of service when you combine everybody. So, again, we appreciate you and what you do. And since this is your board meeting, it's going to be a pretty short board meeting to celebrate. So, we're going to go ahead and move forward with our delinquents tax collection report. We have Liz is here, and Barbara and Janet are here.
Shannon.
Huh?
Shannon.
Shannon? I thought you said Janet.
Shannon.
Shannon, I'm sorry, I apologize. And so they're here tonight to present. And Barbara, thank you again for bringing the cupcakes. Appreciate you bringing that in. Okay, go ahead.
Thank y'all for having us again this evening. I'm pleased to stand up here and give you a report. The report that I'm giving you represents a lot of hard work by these two ladies right here, and I want to make sure that you see their faces and that they get recognition for their efforts, because these numbers are not just me. It's a whole lot of hard work by Barbara and Shannon. Shannon does everything in Panola County, and Barbara does everything that's in Rusk County. So if you know anybody that has an issue in one of those places, Shannon is Panola, Barbara is Rusk. Are you starting the timer now, or did you already start it?
You're fine. Keep going.
We're going to start on page 3. Page 3 shows you your total revenue from tax collections. This, remember, it adds current plus delinquent and your penalty and interest and compares it to your adjusted tax levy for that fiscal year or for that tax year. 2024, your most recent fiscal year end, 101.37% of what you levied was collected during this fiscal year. Your 2023s, which was the first year that we were involved, 101.28%, and then you can see the 2 prior years before we came. It's steadily going up, not going up as fast as I would like it to, but you know, I mean, any improvement is an improvement. Does anybody have any questions about that first page? All right, moving on to page 4. This shows you your cumulative tax collections by year as of the end of November. Your 2024 taxes, 98.25% of what you levied had been collected. Your 2023's, 98.93% of your levy had been collected. Your 2022's, 99.21% has been collected. And your 2021 taxes, 99.4% of what you levied for 2021 has been collected at the end of November. Moving on to page 5, this deals specifically with your delinquent tax collections. Again, it's as of November the 30th. Your 2024 taxes, which were turned over to us in July of 2025, we've had 5 months to work on those. 43.41% has been collected. Your 2023 taxes with 17 months, 63.76% has been collected. Your 2022s have been worked for 29 months, 66.44% has been collected. And your 2021s with 41 months, 75.16% has been collected at the end of November. Does anybody have any questions about either of those 2 pages? All right, we're going to skip over to page 9. The first chart on the top of page 9 breaks down your entire outstanding delinquent tax roll into various categories. If you want to look at the 4 most recent tax years in these same categories, that's going to be on pages 7 and 8, so you can go back and look at those later. But your total amount outstanding as of November the 30th was $731,081. You'll see that 41.11% of that is currently either under a pending suit or under a judgment that is waiting to be sold, or if it's personal property, that it's been abstracted. A very, very small portion, really insignificant in bankruptcy. 11%, just over 11% is covered by tax deferrals. And then you'll see the amount that's there that we're currently working under research in progress. On the bottom of page 9, it's again the total amount outstanding, but it breaks it down by year so that you can see what percentage by year of those make up your delinquent tax roll. You'll see that just over 44% is 2022 through 2024. So those are the most recent tax years. The majority of that will be collected over the next few years. Your 2014 and prior is still pretty high. It's certainly higher than what I would like to see. I want to see that be down in the teens or preferably under 10%. You know, those are the old ones that we are working to get resolved. And if you'll remember the Bell family, we talked about them back whenever I first came. We got 2 judgments so far against the Bell family. One of them is going to be in our upcoming March tax sale. So we are getting those to a resolution, and we'll have those resolved one way or another soon. But the first of the 5 suits already has a judgment and is posted for sale. Does anybody have any question about page 9? Moving on to page 11, this talks about all of our collection activities since we started working for you guys. The thing that I really want to highlight is the lawsuits. We filed 134 lawsuits since we started working for you guys. The goal for this year is going to be about 70 lawsuits. That will be both in Panola and, Rusk County. It's gonna include tax warrants, obviously. 617 properties in those 134 suits. Those properties, again, can be real, personal, or mineral accounts, so it's really accounts, 617 in those suits. We've reduced 45 cases to judgment. We have done 39 tax warrants. We talked about those last time. Most of those have been tax warrants against the royalty interest, where the operator pays the delinquent taxes, and then once the warrant's dissolved, the property owner keeps their mineral interest and starts receiving those payments again. We did just complete a batch of those, and I think Barbara's got about $6,000 or $7,000 as a result of those that she's gonna be delivering to the tax office in the next couple of days. We have had 4 tax sales so far. That's between Rusk County and Panola County. 90 different properties or accounts have been posted for sale. 69 of those either paid in full, entered a homestead installment agreement, or filed a tax deferral, with the majority of them being paid. We have sold 19 of the properties that we posted for sale to third parties, and 2 of the properties were bid and trust, which means we didn't receive the required minimum bid. We'll let those sit for a little while, and then I'll come back and ask you guys to pass a resolution authorizing the resale of those at a lesser price, and that will be included in one of our sales this year. We do have an upcoming sale in March, and it will be in Rusk County, so if you know anybody that's interested, as soon as I have the list, I'll email it, and y'all feel free to share it. There's 22 accounts in the March sale. Page 12 talks about bankruptcy litigation. Again, it's a very insignificant amount in terms of your total outstanding balance. Moving on to page 13, it talks about the excess proceeds that you guys have received during this past fiscal year. So far we brought, or not so far, last fiscal year we brought just over $13,000 in excess proceeds. That would be from a tax sale that happened more than 2 years ago. So that money is bonus money. You guys get to spend it however you desire. The Williams case that we filed the appeal on, the deadline initially for him to file his brief was the last day in December, but at the very last minute he filed like basically a motion for continuance, asking for additional time. The Court of Appeals did grant him additional time. The new deadline is the 28th of January, and in their order allowing more time, they specifically said that it will not be looked favorably upon if he comes in and requests another one. So I expect that to be resolved shortly after he files his brief. And once that's resolved, again, if it's resolved in your favor, it's going to be a little over $50,000 to the district. We have performed 2 taxable value audits for you guys since we started. Those resulted in an additional $23,424 in state funding. That service we provide at no cost. We are in the process of reviewing your 2022 taxable value in both Panola and Rusk County to see whether or not we should file a taxable value audit. If we do file one, we'll send it to Dr. Richardson for his signature, and then at some point in the future, you can expect additional state revenue. We're going to skip page 15 and go to page 16. One of the other things that we have done for you guys is a self-report appeal. With the compression of the tax rate and the freeze issues and refreeze issues on the over 65 homesteads, we went in and did a self-report audit, which is basically like a taxable value audit. It just can be done earlier. So we did that right after everything was certified to see if you all would qualify for any additional state funding under the hold harmless provisions, and we were able to find a reduction of your T2 value of just over $5 million, and with that and the hold harmless money, we estimate that you all received an additional $84,000 in both state aid and hold harmless money as a result of that, self-report appeal. Does anybody have any questions?
I do have one.
Okay.
So on some of the taxes that have been lingering from year to year, are we counting the taxes that have deferrals? Is that still being rolled along?
Yes.
So some of that would never be collected, it just shows up in our percentages, what's there?
Depending on the nature of the property, it could be collected, because if the property has appreciated in value, once the deferral comes off and they either pay it or we sell it, then you should, recoup everything. If the property has deteriorated in value, then it's possible that you won't recoup it all. But it has to just sit out there. So even if you've got taxes deferred like from the 1990s, and I say that, I don't remember what your deferrals look like, but if you have taxes that are deferred that long, they're gonna stay on your tax roll as collectible until after that deferral comes off.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank y'all very
We
much.
always appreciate it.
Yes,
Good job.
thank you, thank you.
Mr. Milam, budget update.
So along with the spreadsheet we normally look at, we've added one more sheet. Basically, it tracks our expenditures by function. If you remember on the audit, there were a couple of functions that we overspent in. So Dr. Richardson asked me to share with you, every time I do a budget update, the progress we have in each function. And so if you'll look at that first column, that's the adopted budget that we started with, that you approved back in August. And so the final, the column at the very end on the right, that's the percentage of that function that we have spent so far. And of course, some are gonna be higher than others. Some revenue is gonna be higher than others. It just depends on what time of the year we collect the revenue, what time of the year we have certain expenditures. So you'll see this is a revenue report. If you go to the next page, those are the expenditures, and you'll see there's one, like the 6,600 when we bought the bus, so we expended almost that whole account. So anyway, you can see, of course, this is through last month, so it seems like we're sitting pretty good. So when we get toward the end of the year, we'll start getting close to, we've spent 90% of the budget, and after we do accruals, we'll know exactly where we stand. But anyway, this is just another report for you guys to look at from an expenditure standpoint, and that is as of through December. So where we stand at the moment, and this goes through our current enrollment. I do have some new enrollment that I'll share next time. Look that into the formulas and see where we stand. So it's looked like we are ahead of schedule from a revenue standpoint, and it has to do with some property values, it has to do with the enrollment, and of course some of that will change depending on anybody that's challenging their property values and anything that's held up from that standpoint. But where we stand right now is a little bit more than we passed. I think we passed to the plus side of around 913,000 maybe, so it looks like we're running ahead of schedule there, about 1.1, almost 1.2. So last year's audit, you remember we did roll some, I think around $750,000 into the budget, or into the fund balance last year. That's kind of where we're standing right now, if things kind of remain the same. You have any questions over that?
We're gonna try to do this more often. And it keeps us in line too, to make sure we're not getting out of line and all that. But so, financially, we're doing pretty good. We've actually got more revenue than what we've adopted, so to speak, at this time, due to certain things. But like he said, there's some flow in and flow out and all that.
So one thing I'd like to add, were you gonna talk about Sabine? Okay, so we got our first check from Sabine Oil. It was like 19,000, a little over 19,000. Now that was 3 months. So when I called them, they said we should be getting a check every month now. So now I'm not expecting $20,000 every month, but that was a three month span.
And he and I didn't expect that much. I'll be honest, we did not expect that. But that well is like the best around right now. They're saying 1.6 believe, because Jack talked to me about it, 1.6 million a day is what that thing's bringing out, when you're making. And he said it's one of the biggest ones he's seen in East Texas.
Mhm.
That's right. It's a huge, huge pad.
Yep. All right. That's all we got. Yeah, I don't have anything else.
There being no further business, the regular board meeting of NYC is now adjourned. It is 5:51.